Are there any side effects that happens to your body if you stay for a long time without having sexual intercourse? There are a lot of reasons why people actually end up not having sexual intercourse for a long time. You might have troubles with your relationship, you might decide just to abstain, and maybe one of the partner is not around. Are there some side effects? Are there some changes? Are there some things that are going to occur in your body that if you stay away from sexual intercourse for a very long time? This is what we're going to be talking about on this episode. This is Talk Pregnancy with Dr. Nuela, where we tell you all about pregnancy and other women related health issues. Welcome back, and don't forget to subscribe. We're going to be taking you today through 9 things that might happen to your body if you don't have sexual intercourse for a very long time. And just a reminder, let's know that this video is not to promote sexual intercourse, but remember that sexual intercourse is part of your health. It also improves your mental health, is part of your holistic health. It gives you, once you're also satisfied in mentally, physically, so you also have to be satisfied sexually. Now, what are some side effects that might happen if you don't have intercourse for a very long time? The first thing, you're going to be seeing some changes in your body. Like, does it affect your menstrual cycle? Does it affect libido? That's your desire to have intercourse. Does it affect your mood as well? And a whole long list of things. This is what we're going to be talking about on this episode. Let's dive right into the first. The first, which is libido. Libido is your desire to have intercourse. Is it going to affect your desire to have intercourse? Of course, yes, it's going to affect your desire to have intercourse. How is it going to affect your libido or your desire to have intercourse? Yes, it's going to affect it because, like Copper says, out of sight is out of mind. If you're not using something, if it's not in your daily schedule, if it is not in your mind, if it is not in your daily schedule, then you might not be thinking about it. So it tends to suppress that area. It tends to suppress the sexual desire in you. But you have to know that in men, most of the times what triggers the desire to have intercourse is usually visual things. You see like something passing by, or something you watch, something you see passing by, and oh, you see them maybe having some erections and all that. And you see that for men, what triggers them most of the times is visual aspects. But in ladies, in women, it's more about contact. If you have close contact with them, it arouses their sexual desires. So most of the times you see that men tend to have higher desires than women. So, but it's left on you to actually control yourself. But most of the times you see, if you have a longer stay without having sexual intercourse, it's definitely going to reduce your desire to have intercourse. But what happens if you finally have a partner, and or you have a reunion with your partner? What happens is that you need to know that it's going to take some time, or it's not in everybody. Sometimes in some people it doesn't really affect, but in others it can affect. And you see that for some time they might just go for one turn, and the next time they might not feel like they should continue. This is something you should discuss with your partner. Open communication is very important, because it's just like when you leave a house, when you leave a dusty home, you take a vacation, and when you're coming back, the whole place is dusty, the whole place is maybe having an odor. What do? You take time, you clean the place, you take time, you wash it, you dry the things, you maybe spray air fresheners in your home, and the home comes back to normal. That's the same thing. If it was out of use for a long time, therefore you need to take those precautions. It cannot just come in like that. But some other people, it can definitely come like that. Remember that everybody has their own system, but that's the reason why it can decrease libido. It's important that if you start having sexual intercourse again, you should be ready to take some time, and if it happens, discuss it with your partner. And if it stays for long, don't forget to consult your health personnel and explain it to them. and they might just help you, because there are other reasons which might affect libido which you don't know, and maybe it can be diagnosed after you consult. Now the second thing is mood. Does it affect your mood? Yes, it can affect your mood. Oh my god, yes, it can affect your mood. Now, sexual intercourse is something that they always, there's one statement when you come to like the job site, which is something common around me. You come to your job site and someone will tell you like, oh, the way you're happy this morning is like you had a good night's sleep. Or, and when they say the good night's sleep is you had good sexual intercourse at night. And yeah, of course it gives that feeling after you have intercourse. Why does it give that feeling? Because it's usually with sexual intercourse you have skin to skin contact, which leads to the secretion of the feel good hormone called oxytocin. Yes, oxytocin, it's usually released during that time for a woman, and it increases her mood. It makes them boost up, both in men and women. It can boost their feelings through mood elevating endorphins. So you see here that once you have intercourse, it gives you that feeling of happiness, it gives you that excitement, it gives you that satisfaction. But take note, it does not mean that if you don't have sexual intercourse, you're not going to be satisfied, you're not going to be excited, you're not going to be happy about what you're doing. Be very careful about that. It's just that once you don't have that skin to skin contact, most of the times it can lead to that, especially if you have been having intercourse before and out of a sudden you stop. Like I said from the beginning, due to maybe relationship problems, you decide to abstain, or for waiting for a better partner, or maybe your partner is not around. In that case, you feel sometimes moody, but most of the time it's not really like the medical depression. It's just like mood swings. But how do you do when it happens like that? You can use other things to stimulate you, to excite you. You can do other things that can occupy your mind, so it frees your mind off from that, and you're not depressed at all. The third thing is, does it affect the menstrual cycle in women? Definitely not. It does not affect the menstrual cycle. Most people think that if you don't have sexual intercourse for a long time, your eggs are going to be reduced. You're going to go into menopause faster because your eggs are reducing at a faster rate. No, no, no. Remember that in women, what happens is at the age or at adolescent, at the age of menarche, when they start seeing their first menses, they start releasing eggs through ovulation every month. Once you're born, you have millions of eggs in your body, and it starts reducing, and at puberty you have a certain quantity of eggs in your ovaries, and at menarche you start menarche, beginning of menstrual cycle of your menses, you start releasing eggs through ovulation monthly till you reach menopause. So this one is irrespective of whether you're having sex or not. No, it does not affect that. So be it if you're seeing your menses regularly, then you should be ovulating monthly. Even sometimes some tend to have twins, that's fraternal twins, that's non-identical twins. It's because they ovulated two eggs at the same time. There you can even reduce your eggs more than another person. But it's not about sexual intercourse. It's not about that. It's just your normal physiologic events that are occurring in your body as a woman. So it does not affect the menstrual cycle. Please, and your eggs remain the same. Now, the vaginal secretions. Let's go to the vaginal secretions. What happens to it? There's something, once you want to have sexual intercourse, what happens? The vagina tends to get wet because there are glands at the vaginal walls that secretes these liquids, which help to lubricate the vagina and help in penetration, to ease penetration without pain. And with all that, when it starts happening, if you don't have intercourse for a long time, what happens is that the vagina tends to get dry, the elasticity of the vagina reduces, and it can lead to pains. It can lead to pains during intercourse. But remember that if you start having intercourse and this pain, if it just happens just for that time, and of course, if it just happens, remember I said out of sight is out of mind. Something which is not being used, it tends to atrophy. It tends to like shrink if it's not being used. The glands also tends to shrink. Once it happens, Then if you regain intercourse, it has to also take time to come back to normal. So you have to also take time. But if this pain usually persists, there are other things that cause pain during intercourse. Remember to consult your doctor. Please remember that. And know that when the right time comes, you just need to take time and it's going to be okay. Everything being equal, it should be okay after when the right time comes, when you find the right partner, or when you've had a reunion with your partner, everything should come back to normal. Now we go to the next thing. Risks of urinary tract infection and sexually transmitted infections. Does it affect, does the rate increase or decrease if you don't have sexual intercourse for a long time? What do you think? Of course, I get you. You're right, it's going to definitely reduce. The best thing to prevent sexually transmitted infection is what? Abstinence. If you don't have sexual intercourse, then you cannot have sexually transmitted infections like chlamydia, gonorrhea, syphilis. Then when it comes to urinary tract infection, it's different for both men and female. For men, it actually decreases the rate of urinary tract infection because once they have intercourse, it causes them to ejaculate, and sometimes they go regularly to go and urinate, and once you urinate, any bacteria which was picked up at the vagina or at the level of your outer side of your penis is being sent out. But for women, it's a little bit different. It can be the same or a bit even, because women, their urethra, that's where they urinate, to their bladder is very short, and they have a high risk of developing infection, urinary tract infection. So when you have intercourse and the penis is sent in, it actually can take bacteria from around the vagina into the urethra and into the bladder, which can lead to frequent urinary tract infection. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. After this, we're going to be talking about the effects on the men itself and on their penis. So remember to watch this. Click that notification bell so that you're going to be notified of that video. Let's continue. Now, there's also another point where it weakens the pelvic wall. The pelvic wall is like the muscles which are below, which holds like the bladder, which holds the bladder in place and helps in controlling urination in a person. So these muscles, when you turn to have sexual intercourse, it tends to strengthen these muscles. It's just like when you do exercises, when you're doing muscle building, once you continue working out those muscles, it tends to hypertrophy, it tends to get big, and it tends to be solid. But once you're not using the muscle, it shrinks, it becomes fragile, and then the things that it protects are no longer being protected. You start having urinary incontinence, where maybe you might take long to while urinate. It stays for a long time in your bladder before you go and urinate, and sometimes you might want to just cough and you see leakage of urine in your pants. You see urine that has leaked and wet your pants. And what can you do if you're someone who has stayed for a long time without having sexual intercourse? There are ways to that you can do. There are exercises that you can do to strengthen this pelvic muscles. And when you strengthen them, you can do the Kegel exercises where you squeeze in, just like when you want to urinate or when you want to stool. Once you're urinating, you squeeze the anal region, just like you want to cut the pee, the urine from continuing. And once you do that, it strengthens that pelvic muscles. Therefore, as you're strengthening that pelvic muscles, it can prevent all these dysfunctions in urination. And also, you can do yoga. Yogas are very good too in strengthening the pelvic floor. The second to the last, that's the seventh, is cleaner. For women, I know you know what I'm talking about. For women, you're more cleaner because remember that when you have intercourse, the secretions that come out, and more secretions, the sperm is deposited in you. You might have some discharges, some irritations. You can have itches as well in your vulva and also in your vagina. So when these glands are not being secreted, when they don't secrete, when they are dry, most of the times, at this time you're very clean. You don't have any troubles with all the secretions at that time. So yeah, it can make you clean for that. I know we all understand. All right, and the last point is, if you abstain, then there's no need for you taking family planning, especially the hormonal contraceptive methods, which usually maybe might have some side effects. The hormones having some other side effects, maybe delaying in your period, irregular periods, heavy bleedings, and many other things. If you decide to abstain, therefore, need for you to take any hormonal contraceptive. So if this was helpful, please don't forget to subscribe. And remember, all this is just for you to know what happens to your body and see, such that if you have a new partner, or you get a reunion with your partner and this kind of things start happening, you should know how to have an open discussion with your partner, discuss it with him or her, and then you see how you can figure out. But remember, take your time. It's not that you must go in and have intercourse because this is going to happen to your body. No, no, no. Take your time. It's very okay to abstain from sexual intercourse now and even forever. If you don't want to have sexual intercourse, it's very okay, and you can have a normal life. You can be excited like other people. You can have a normal mental health, because you are the one who made that decision. So let no one force you to enter into sexual intercourse because of these side effects. But it's just that if you were having regular intercourse and you stop for a long time, these are the things that are happening to your body. It's just for you to know. It's just for us to have a discussion. So you can drop on the comment section how long you stayed. If there are any things you want us to talk about, if you want to hear about any other thing, you can drop it on the comment section. It's just all about discussion. And don't forget to follow us if you want to have a private consultation with me. You can click on the link below and get a one-on-one consultation with me, and we are here for you. God bless you.